Your dog heard you. They did. You saw it happen. You called their name at the park, and their head lifted. Their ears moved. Their eyes found yours. For 1 second, maybe 2, there was a line between you. A small, silent connection. And then they turned away. Back to the grass. Back to the scent. Back to the thing that seemed more important than you. That tiny moment hurts more than people admit. Because if they had not heard you, you could forgive it. If they had been too far away, too excited, too lost in the wind, you could explain it, but they looked at you. They knew. And still, they did not come. So the human heart does what it often does when love feels ignored. It turns pain into a story. Maybe they're stubborn. Maybe they do not respect me. Maybe they only listen when they feel like it. Maybe they know exactly what I want, and they are choosing not to care. But what if that 1 second look means something else? What if it is not defiance? What if it is conflict? What if your dog is standing inside an invisible battle, where your voice is only one of many forces pulling on them? There is scent. There is movement. There is instinct. There is breed history. There's a tired brain trying to control a body full of electricity. And sometimes, there's a word that used to mean safety, but now quietly means. The fun is over. Most people think recall is about obedience. But to your dog, recall is deeper than that. It is not just a command, it is a question. When the world is loud, when the grass is full of secrets, when every nerve in their body says, keep going, does your voice still feel safe enough to return to? That is what we are really talking about. Not control, trust. And once you understand what is happening behind that 1 second look, you may never see your dog's hesitation the same way again. Because your dog may not be ignoring you. They may be trying to come back through a storm you cannot see. The first hidden force is something most owners never think about. Your dog's self-control is not endless. It runs out, just like yours does. You know this feeling. You stay patient all day. You answer messages. You hold your tongue. You sit in traffic. You stay polite when you were tired. Then one small thing happens at the end of the day, and suddenly you have nothing left. Not because you became cruel, not because you stopped caring, but because your inner battery is empty. Dogs have a version of that too. Behavioral research shows that self-control is not just a personality trait. It is a resource. And once it has been used again and again, the brain has less power left for the next hard choice. Think about your dog's day before you ever reach the park. They did not chew the shoe. They did not steal food from the counter. They did not jump on the visitor. They did not bark at every sound in the hallway. They did not chase the cat. They did not grab the leash with their teeth. They did not explode through the door the moment it opened. To you, that may look like a normal day. To them, it may be hundreds of tiny acts of restraint. Hundreds of small moments where their body wanted one thing, and your home required another. Then you arrive at the park, and everything changes. The air is alive. There are dogs they have not met, people they have not smelled, old trails in the grass, fresh trails over the old ones, a squirrel that passed 10 minutes ago, a tennis ball hidden somewhere near a bench, a strange dog's excitement still hanging near the fence. Your dog's nose drops, their body wakes up, their brain lights up. Then you call. And this is where many owners misunderstand the moment. They think the question is, does my dog know the word? But the deeper question is, does my dog have enough self-control left to act on what they know? Knowing is not the same as doing. Your dog can know your voice, know your cue, know your face, know exactly what you want, and still struggle to make their body turn away from the thing pulling them. That is not betrayal. That is a nervous system under pressure. According to reward-based training principles supported by organizations such as the APDT and welfare guidance from the RSPCA, good training does not simply ask harder and harder questions. It sets the dog up to succeed. So the first change is not louder calling. It is better timing. Do not save your hardest recall practice for the moment your dog is already flooded. Do not wait until they are nose deep in scent, muscles loaded, brain tired, and then ask for their best performance. Practice when the tank is fuller, early in the walk, before the park becomes too much, in quiet spaces, at short distances, before the stimulation stacks up. And when you call them during fun, do not always make that call mean the fun is ending. Call them, reward them, love them, then release them back to play. That one step changes everything, because every time your dog comes back and then gets freedom again, your voice becomes a doorway, not a trap. Every recall that leads back to joy is a deposit. Every recall that ends the fun is a withdrawal. And many dogs have heard their name used like a bank account that is always being emptied. Come here. Leash on. Come here. We are leaving. Come here. Bath time. Come here. Get in the car. Come here. Stop doing the thing you love. Then one day, the owner stands at the park and wonders why the dog hesitates. But the dog is not confused. The dog may understand too well. Now there's another force inside that 1 second look. And this one lived in your dog's body before training ever began. Breed history. Not every dog was built to make the same decision in the same way. Some dogs were shaped by humans to work close, to watch, to check in, to wait for a signal, to carry something back, to move with us, to read our shoulders, our hands, our eyes, our silence. Other dogs were shaped to work away from us, to follow scent beyond sight, to make choices without asking, to chase movement underground, to guard a flock while the humans slept, to pull forward into distance, to trust their own judgment when no person was beside them. This does not make one dog better than another. It makes them honest. A golden retriever that turns back quickly may not love their human more than a beagle who needs 3 extra seconds. They may simply be carrying a different history in their body. A border collie may look back as if asking, "What next?" A hound may lower their nose as if saying, "The answer is here." A husky may feel the horizon calling. A terrier may see one tiny movement and become lightning. A livestock guardian may pause, assess, and decide whether your request makes sense to the world they believe they are protecting. This is where many owners become unfair without meaning to. They compare their dog to someone else's dog. Why does that dog come back so fast? Why does that dog stay close? Why does that dog keep checking in? Why does mine act like I disappear outside? But your dog is not failing another dog's exam. They are living inside their own inheritance. When a scent-driven dog stops mid-trail and turns towards you, even slowly while need, that can be enormous effort. When an independent dog chooses your voice over the open field, that is not small. When a dog bred to make decisions alone pauses and comes back to a human cue, you are watching instinct bend, not break. Bend. That deserves respect. And this is also where we must let go of the old dominant story. Your dog is not refusing recall because they are trying to be alpha. That idea has harmed many relationships between humans and dogs. L. David Meck, whose earlier wolf work helped popularize the word alpha, later clarified that the old alpha wolf model was misleading when applied to natural wolf families. And it is even more misleading when applied to your dog at the park. Your dog is not plotting a power struggle in the grass. They are not trying to overthrow your household. They are not measuring your weakness. They are experiencing conflict, a voice they know, a world they smell, a body shaped by history, a brain trying to choose. That is not dominance, that is biology. And when you understand biology, your training becomes kinder and more effective. Because you stop asking, how do I force my dog to obey? And you start asking, how do I make returning to me easier than leaving me? For some dogs, that means using a long line. Not as punishment, not as failure, but as honesty. A long line that says, I know the world is strong. I will not gamble with your safety while we build this together. For some dogs, it means starting in boring places. A hallway, a yard, a quiet path, an empty field. Then gradually adding the real world. More distance, more scent, more dogs, more movement, more freedom. Training recall at the hardest level first is like teaching a child to swim by dropping them into the ocean, then calling them stubborn for struggling. Start where your dog can win. Then let the wins grow. That is not lowering standards. That is building a bridge strong enough for your dog to cross. But there is one reason your dog may hesitate that is even more personal. And for many owners, this is the hardest one to hear. The word itself may be damaged. Not because your dog does not know it, because they know it too well. Come. Here. Inside. Let's go. Whatever word you use, Muck, it may have started clean. At first, it meant move toward me, receive something good, feel close, reconnect. But over time, without anyone meaning harm, the word may have collected a different history. Come. The leash clips on. Come. The park ends. Come. The door closes. Come. The bath starts. Come. The nail clippers appear. Come. The car ride begins. Come. The fun disappears. Dogs are brilliant pattern readers. They may not understand language the way humans do, but they understand prediction. They remember what usually follows. So, if your recall word has often predicted loss, your dog may begin to feel a small shadow when they hear it. Not fear of you, not hatred of you, a shadow around the word. This is why some dogs do that strange half response. They look. They lower their head. They take one slow step. They curve away instead of running straight in. They suddenly sniff the ground. They pretend to be busy. They move towards you in a wide arc. Their body says, I know what you want, but I am not sure I like what happens next. That moment is not random, it is memory. The recall word no longer simply means, come to me. It starts to mean, something valuable is about to end. And this is where many owners accidentally make it worse. They call again, louder, sharper. Come here. I said, come. Now the word carries even more pressure. The dog moves slower. The human feels more rejected. The voice gets harder. The dog becomes more cautious. And a recall problem becomes a relationship problem. Not because love is missing, because the word has become emotionally expensive. So what do? Sometimes the fastest way to repair recall is not to repair the old word. It is to protect a new one. Choose a word your dog has no history with. Here. Close. With me. Touch. Home. Anything simple. Anything clean. Then treat it like something sacred. Do not throw it into chaos on the first day. Do not use it when your dog is already gone in their mind. Do not use it before something they dislike. Do not use it to end the best moment of their day. At first, use it only when you are almost certain they will succeed. Say it warmly. Reward generously. Celebrate quietly. Then release them back to life. Again and again. Your dog learns. That word does not steal from me. That word gives me something. That word brings me back to my person. And my person sends me back into joy. Over time, the word becomes a promise. Not a command, a promise. And dogs return faster to promises than they do to threats. This is the emotional center of recall. Your dog is not just learning a sound. They are learning whether your voice can be trusted when freedom is on the line. That is why harsh corrections can damage more than the moment. They can attach tension to the cue itself. According to modern reward-based training standards, recall should be built with reinforcement, safety, and trust, rather than fear or intimidation. Because a dog who comes back with a low body, cakey, tight mouth, pinned ears, and worried eyes may technically be obeying. But their heart is not running home. Their body is surrendering. That is not the recall Paws Mind believes in. The recall we want is different. A head lifts, the ears soften, the body turns, the tail loosens. The dog runs back with a light in their face. Not because the world became boring, but because you became safe. So now, go back to that moment at the park. Your dog is a few meters away. Their nose is in the grass. You call. Their head lifts. They look at you. 1 second, maybe 2. Before Boksoy, that look may have felt like disrespect. Now you can see more inside it. A self-control battery that may already be low. A nose reading a world you cannot read. A breed history whispering, keep going, trust yourself. A word that may have collected too many endings. A small body standing between love and instinct. That pause is not proof that your dog does not care. Sometimes, that pause is the moment your dog is trying to turn away from scent, trying to fight motion, trying to choose your voice over 1,000 invisible messages in the air, trying to come back through the noise. And maybe the most loving thing you can do is stop seeing recall as a test of loyalty. Start seeing it as a relationship you build one safe return at a time. Call when they can succeed. Reward like it matters. Release them back to joy. Use a long line when the world is too strong. Respect the dog in front of you, not the imaginary dog you think they should be. And if the old word has become heavy, give them a new one. A clean one. A word with no disappointment inside it. Then protect that word. Because one day, you may need it. One day the gate may open. The leash may slip. A car may pass. A squirrel may run. The world may pull hard. And in that moment, recall will not be about showing who is in charge. It will be about whether your voice has become a place your dog trusts enough to run toward. That is the goal. Not a dog who obeys because they are afraid to be wrong. A dog who returns because coming back to you has always meant safety. And when that happens, when your dog hears your voice, turns from the grass, leaves the scent, and runs back into your hands, that is not just training. That is a bond made visible. That is your relationship moving across the field on 4 paws. That is your dog saying, the world is calling me. But so are you. And I know where I am safe. So the next time your dog looks at you for 1 second and hesitates, do not rush to anger. Look closer. There may be a whole battle inside that pause. And if this moment has ever happened to you, write this in the comments. He heard me. Because maybe he did. And maybe now, you finally heard him too. References and disclaimer. For YouTube description. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not replace advice from a qualified veterinarian, certified dog trainer, or animal behavior professional. If your dog shows sudden changes in behavior, fear, aggression, appetite, breathing, pain signs, stress behavior, or body language, please speak with your veterinarian first. Behavioral references used in this script include RSPCA Dog Body Language Guidance, APDT Reward-Based Training Principles, Reward-Based Recall Training Standards, L. David Meck's clarification of the alpha wolf concept, research on canine self-control and inhibitory behavior, studies on breed-related differences in dog cognition, and research on how positive and negative associations affect learned cues.